Hey, yo, the Strokes though? Hey, man. Hey, the Strokes though? Bruh, the Strokes, bro. The Strokes, bro. No, the Strokes. No, but like the Strokes though. Like this is a very big deal in indie rock, man. This is a seminal band right here. Your parents love them. Can guarantee you that. They're led by the done with life, relatable king himself, Julian.
Julian Scratchy Blanket.
Huge fan base, these guys. You know, those first two albums basically kind of, in a lot of ways, shaped the sound of indie rock for the 2000s, you know, very important and influential releases right there. I'm a fan of them, they're cool. They've been on the hush-hush for a minute. They've been on the quiet. They've been keeping it mad quiet for a while now, man. Like 7 years ago is when they last released an album, which was with Come Down Machine in 2013. An album I have not heard myself. I never listened to that record before, but I know it's considered their worst by a lot of Strokes fans. Yeah, they also had like an EP called like the Future Present Past EP or something like a few years ago, which I also never heard that either. As you can tell, I'm not like a super huge Strokes fan like that. I'm not against the Strokes, they're cool. I'm just not like passionate about the Strokes. When it comes to Julian
Scratchy Blanket,
I'd say I'm team Voids. I'm team Voids. But yeah, how am I finding the new Strokes album, the new abnormal? What are we thinking? Over here at Buffalo Staple and Team and Co. and HQ. Over here at Buff HQ. What are we thinking? Right. Well, I am not enjoying it. Not that much. I don't think it's a bad album though. I think it's bad. I don't think it's a cool, bad album. You know, I wouldn't like recommend it or anything. I do like the Strokes generally, but there are certain things about them that have never really clicked for me in like a huge way. Like I've never really been like, there's not a single Strokes album I would say I really like adore, you know, that I've listened to. Maybe I'll love Come Down Machine. Who knows, bro? Is this it? Room on Fire? They're tight, but I've never really been into how kind of distorted and compressed they sound, how kind of tinny they sound. Like Julian's voice has like a certain like distorted kind of filter going on. It sounds very crunchy, and that never really lended too well to the kind of hook heavy approach to rock music they had. It kind of took away a little bit of the energy and spirit that was clearly like trying to shine through, but just the recording quality, the production, it just was never really my kind of thing. I never really enjoyed that aspect of their music. But yeah, again, it's like just certain production choices on this record just kind of bother me and stop me from really like getting super like into some of the grooves and hooks and stuff. Like on Brooklyn Bridge to Chorus, so the chorus is kind of catchy. He just sounds a little stiff. He just sounds like he isn't really letting loose as much as he could be, and yeah, those synths, they just kind of bounce off of the instrumentation in just a very uncomfortable way. Selfless as well, I like that song, just bores the shit out of me personally. Like that lead like loop, the lead like guitar, the kind of dreamy sounding like it just sounds so boring. It's just such a lame loop. I feel like I've heard like versions of that so many times. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these tracks on this album are just like interpolations of other songs, or like they just sound really plain a lot of the time to me. So yeah, that song sounds super dreamy, which makes sense because it's a love song where Julian is basically just calling out to a love interest and inviting them to live with him and, you know, them to be together. It's really like, you know, he's really like passionate on the song. You can feel his passion in his performance, but when he starts like wailing in that super high register, I can't enjoy that, man. Like it's very tangible how he feels, which is cool, but given just the way the songs are produced and just that kind of compressed stroke sound, it's almost like peaking. His voice is almost like peaking, and it's against like an instrumental that's otherwise very like clean and glossy, and yeah, the combo, it just doesn't really work for me. I'm also really not into his singing on the track Eternal Summer. Like on the chorus, I think it sounds fucking hilarious. Psychedelic! It sounds so weird on that track, man. It sounds like he's singing it as if he thinks it's like some super thrilling moment, but it's just so out of place to me. Like it just doesn't make sense. And that track goes on for fucking ages too, man. That song is really long. Yeah, Why Are Sundays So Depressing? That track, again, the production just pisses me off. Or that like squeaky guitar that gets panned to the left ear is horrible. I don't like that at all. And then there's there's like a guitar scratch that's also panned to the left ear that's happening during the bridge of the song that, yeah, I just don't really enjoy that. And Julian on this track, his voice is recorded, it sounds quite clean. It actually sounds quite layered, but his performance is like one of the most monotone and bland on the record, so it just kind of cancels that out, you know. So yeah, there were just so many like little production moments and just certain just, you know, oddities on this album that just bothered me, because they were taking place, they were happening on a record that was otherwise just kind of safe, bland indie rock, you know? So it just kind of felt like those oddities were there just to kind of try and give it more personality, but to me it just came off weird and just uncomfortable. I do really like the first track, The Adults Are Talking. I think that's a wicked opener. I like the drums on this track. They're a bit like speedier, more up-tempo. They're kind of skittish in a way. There's not something that's very typical of Strokes, so that's cool. Julian gives the best performance on the fucking album. I love his vocals on this track. I love it when he really explodes in the end too. It's a real payoff moment because he kind of keeps it reserved for the whole track, and he's talking about basically like appealing to higher ups. There are lines touching on how it feels to kind of be ignored, wanting to be noticed. It could also be kind of about the band's rise to fame at the same time. So I thought the lyrics are definitely, I like the way he was wording and framing all of these sentiments, and the way he performed it was pretty great too. The hook on the track is really satisfying too, and when it does reach that final minute, it really feels like an immense moment of just like catharsis and freedom for Julian. It's such a sick moment. Another track I really enjoyed, Bad Decisions, I thought was quite good. This track is kind of more about the Strokes, the band themselves, their kind of relationship with their fan base, and like that back and forth, and how kind of conflicted it's been over the years with all the releases and their reception and everything. The guitar tones on this track are quite cool too, because a lot of the time it has those kind of compressed Strokes riffs and stuff, but they're quite nicely counterbalanced alongside more kind of soft, sunny guitars as well that sound more just like a sunset at the beach or some shit, and that's a really cool combo. I think it makes the song flow quite dynamically. At the Door is the best song, I think, on the whole album. That's the one song on the record to where I'd say they really pulled off something I would not have expected, and that's something that sounds really refreshing for the band, like through and through. The whole track, lyrically, I think is really beautiful. I think this track is kind of speaking to the frustration of like endlessly searching for just something perfect, whether that be you're working on something and trying to get it just right, or you want a connection with another person. It kind of sounds like the way he's talking on the song, it sounds like he's talking about like a relationship, but you could apply that idea to many things. But yeah, I think that's kind of what the song is generally kind of what it's suggesting, you know? Barely any drums, really like kind of spacious instrumental. It gives Julian so much room to take the spotlight, and his performance is fucking fantastic. When those auto-tune bits come in at the end and you get that really cold and desolate outro paragraph from Julian, it is beautiful. It's such a well-paced, artful song, and I wish they just did shit like that, like really like step outside of the typical Strokes foundations and all that. Throughout their career, they've always been searching for kind of new ways to take the Strokes sound, and on this record, for the most part, they kind of just knuckle down and give you what you would kind of typically want as a Strokes fan from a Strokes album, which was disappointing to me because I found the record overall a little bland, really. But if you are a big Strokes fan, I would say with the new Abnormal, you wouldn't find too much to complain about, because they're giving you, I guess, what I feel like the average Strokes fan would want from a Strokes album. But At the Door just proves that they could pull off something so fucking euphoric and exciting and refreshing, and I wish they had more moments like that. But yeah, some other songs I did enjoy as well. The final track I thought was really cool. That track being more like, sounds like they're kind of reflecting on simpler times and just like looking back on the past and when things were less confusing, and I think it's a pretty warm and lovely ending. There are a lot of likable qualities to the album, but yeah, overall, personally, all things considered, whilst I did like Bad Decisions, At the Door, Adults Are Talking, Closer, I'll take those ones. You can keep the rest though. I don't know if I'd come back to the rest. Brooklyn Bridge has a cool chorus. Overall, I just found the record a little tedious, a little bland, a little just uninspired. So for me, personally, I'd go 5 out of 10. I'd go 5 out of 10. But that's just me. I know this has been getting great reception. I've been seeing some really good praise for this album from a lot of Strokes fans online and stuff. So let me know what you think of the album, how you're feeling about it. But for me, yeah, I'm not really going to come back to it like that. Applaud the Strokes for pulling off something that I feel like could potentially reel in new fans, but also satisfy like the day one fans at the same time. So yeah, I think this is a quality project for them as like in their career as a band and all that. It's just for me personally, I'm not really going to come back to it. That's my review of the fucking new Abnormal bit by the Strokes. Thank you so much for watching this review. I'll catch you on the next review and all that shit. Go pre-order my new album, bitches. Go do it. Go to the Bandcamp. Just go pre-order it. Just do it. Just go pre-order it. It helps the NHS if you do that. You're helping out carers out here trying to save our lives, man. Go pre-order the record, bro. It comes out May 15th. Let's get it. That's all I gotta say. Thank you again for watching. Take care. Bye.